So today on Project Shop, I'm going to give my honest review of the Harbor Freight 65 amp $1,000 plasma cutter. What went wrong, what I broke or damaged, and if it actually was doing what I was asking it of. And overall, right out the gate, I'd like to say, for the most part, it was doing exactly what I asked of it and was working great. I was actually cutting this stuff a lot faster than I thought I was going to be able to, and I could have probably cut even faster, but it's for what I'm doing with this tire machine and this the air motor that's in it, it's really hard to get a consistent dial on the, like, I don't know if you can hear that, but that is air that's going through the air motor, and I have to crank it up to a certain PSI, I guess, to actually get it going. And it's something I'm working on. And also, what I've learned about this plasma cutter and the Best Arc one that was sent to me originally for free through the YouTube channel, they do not like cutting whatsoever steel where there's another piece of steel butted up behind it. This one here, I couldn't even find a good spot to cut it. I had to kind of make a bunch of exploratory cuts, and I don't know if that's what caused the damage to the head of this thing, but I don't know. We'll figure it out here in a minute, because I'm going to finish cutting this thing up, hopefully. But I'm going to show you what went wrong and why I think it happened. Oh, actually, I have no idea why it happened, but I'm just going to speculate. First of all, I ran this thing. Let me plug it in. So I've been running this thing on the 220 setting, okay? And it has a pretty neat feature where if you have interrupted cuts, like this thing, that's what this is for. This thing you can actually plug into a CNC table. And if you have interrupted cuts, it'll actually keep the arc going. And that might be actually better to keep it on that mode for what we're doing here. I don't know. I've been running it on that. Everything seemed fine. I've been pretty much running this thing on 40 amps, 220, and it blew. I mean, I was cutting pretty quick. Now, I've been reading about how the arc and everything should be going. I don't know if these handheld plasma cutters are going to be the way to go, or I might have to just get a different tip or something. I'm not really sure. For the most part, when you're cutting these things and you're blowing through the right spots, man, it works great. I mean, really nice. You can see the cut. It's like a laser cut in there. I don't know what exactly is holding this one on. This one was tough, man. Not only I poked a hole in it and drained it, but I came across one section here and it just blew oil all over me and the floor. I think I had to go change my shirt at some point. They do not like the oil, and it literally says in the manual, no oil, you know, no paint. And so, I mean, we're cutting through paint, which for the most part didn't seem like it was a problem. Now, I will say, I like this plasma cutter better than the Best Arc, because the Best Arc, it's a drag tip. So you actually touch the tip and drag it on the metal. But if there's a lot of paint, sometimes it doesn't want to arc through it. You can see it trying to find an arc, it just doesn't start. This one here just starts and blows right through, which is great. But the problem is, it hits it, and sometimes, you know, if it hits a spot that has metal behind it, it blows back into the tip. And I'm going to show you the tip here and the damage that we incurred. And I don't necessarily think it was all from, I'm going to have to figure a place to hold this real quick. Okay. Sit down and show you what happened. Okay, so I've had it mounted like this, okay? And if you'll notice, the top of this drag cup is like just melted, okay? Now, which is really weird, the top melted because I've had it mounted like this in the arm, okay? The bottom caught a little slag And I think that's just, yeah, that's just surface slag. That actually just comes right off. The bottom of this cup is actually in really good condition compared to the top one. It just has a little bit of slag on it. Now the top one, for whatever reason, just was getting destroyed, man. It actually melted back. And then something really weird started to happen, okay? And it happened, I don't know if this is gonna come through, but there's a dark spot right here, and there's a dark spot back here. And then the cup is literally like melted. Like there's hardly anything holding this thing on. I mean, it's damaged pretty bad. And at first, when I seen the red spots, I thought it was slag, like getting caught up under there, or, you know, and I'm like, it really doesn't make sense because there's a huge gap in there, right? And the slag would just kind of hit it and fall down, you know, it's on the top. And I noticed it happen a couple times to where it started getting red. Like I watched it start to glow, like something was heating up the metal. Now slag falling on this or hitting on the inside, I don't think would heat up the metal. And then this last one that's sitting in the machine right now, I was cutting and I watched this band right here, because I'm kind of standing over it at this angle. I watched it just heat up and start melting away, and there was no slag on it. So as I started, I'm like, oh man, something's going on here. I started taking it apart, and the retaining cup was just melted. And I think this is some type of ceramic. You take this off. So there's a couple little bits in here, okay? You have this little thing that's important, and then that just drops in. Now these are new consumables I put in. I haven't used it yet since I put these in, because I figured maybe the consumables were going bad, but they didn't look bad. But look at the damage that happened to this tip. And that is where it was underneath the retaining cup there. And what I suspect was happening is somehow it was arcing, like an electrical arc was coming through this material and getting this, and since this was touching the metal, creating, I think it was creating a circuit. And you know, the 50 amps or whatever, or the 40 amps that I was cranking on it, it was just creating weird hot spots. I'm not really sure exactly what was going on there. And I'm thinking, man, was it oil from the compressor? Like when it sprayed out, did the oil like get in there and create some type of connection? Or then I'm like, this oil is in, you know, inside an electric, it should be like a non-conductive oil. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I had to, Harbor Freight doesn't sell these parts in their stores, but there is, if you go to Harbor Freight /parts, they actually have a parts department where you can buy all this stuff. I think this was like $14 and this was like $7. So I'm gonna have to order, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna order these parts. I'm gonna continue using it. I don't know if I'm going to leave this on or if I'm going to just use the drag thing I have on here and just leave the cup off. Because I don't understand really what happened there. And then there's one more thing I want to, you know, Harbor Freight and their quality control and their stuff. They send, oh, let me find the consumables that I took off. I put them in a bag and I'll show you the new one. So they send you a wrench, okay? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's to tighten up the you know, your thing, because there's little notches right here. But you go to put the wrench on, like, what is this wrench for? Why did they send it? And there's no way of getting it on the other end. So it's not for that, because you can't, you'd have to put it on here and bring it all the way down. So, okay, what's that for? I don't get it. Here's the tip and the electrode. Now they say replace the tip or the electrode if it gets a 1/16 deep groove in it, but I'm looking at that. Now it does look black, but it really doesn't look bad at all. There is a little divot in there, but I think they all come with that. And the tip is slightly, you can see it's slightly worn out. Okay, but it still has basically the same size little hole. I'm gonna do a little comparison here. Now, one thing I'm thinking of, you know, I'm kind of new to plasma cutting, so I'm thinking, what could I have done wrong? And I'm like, oh, I don't have a regulator. But then I'm reading in the box, this thing has a built-in regulator, so it's only going to let the machine do whatever it needs. And then I'm thinking, oh, I don't have an air dryer. So I think that's going to be a problem. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to give this thing the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to order a new cup and a new cup head, and I'm going to get an air dryer. The only thing I can think of is maybe the moisture or maybe the oil. But I don't understand, like, what happened to this retaining cup. Like, it looks like it just melted from the inside. And I don't see, I don't get it. I mean, it looks good in there, but all around here and everywhere, it just, this thing got cooked, man. And then I'm thinking, well, you know, these things are made to be, well, I guess not made, but most likely, most of the time, people are going to be using them like this. I'm using it like this. Okay, so that thing's kicking on, the coolant's kicking on, and it's not even working. That's what I really like about this one, is it just starts the plasma arc without having to drag and create the connection, you know, which is really nice for this because of the bad, you know, all the paint and the oil and stuff like that. So what I'm thinking is, I mean, if that was slag, that was hot molted slag from when, like, this thing hit, you know, double metal where it couldn't penetrate all the way through and it was blowing back, I think that was a lot of my problem. But the fact that I seen this thing where it's like, it didn't make sense, because back here all the way on the end, I watched it just start glowing from the inside, and over here I watched it glow, get hot from the inside. Like, there's no way, like, you know, when this thing was on there like this, and I'm dragging it this way, and that is literally where that big hole is. There's a big, might not come through on the camera, but there's a big hole missing. And I don't see slag getting down in between that, because towards the end, it's actually really nice on the outer lip before it tapers. It's all the way on the inside, like the arc was somehow coming out and creating a ground. Really weird situation going on with that. I don't know. I just know that this thing caught some shrapnel that day, and other than that, I was working the crap out of this thing, man, and it didn't shut off. It says it'll shut itself off if you're using it too much, but at 40 amps on 220, I can run it for 10 minutes straight, no problem, 100% duty cycle. But it wasn't taking me 10 minutes to do these cuts, and I would stop, make a cut, stop, figure it out, make a cut, and then I'd be moving it off. It'd be taking a break, cooling down. So I don't know. Ultimately, I think I'm going to return this machine. I'm going to cut my teeth with it and figure, you know, blow through these, probably get some more, blow through them. I did get the 1-year warranty, so I think I'm going to, you have, with Harbor Freight, you have a 90-day in-store warranty that comes with everything you buy, okay? And then on top of that, the 90-day or a 1-year warranty. So I got a year and 3 months. So I'm going to basically dial in my cutting skills with this, and then I'm just going to return it. I don't know if this machine is going to actually be what I need. And what I'm going to do is, there's 2 companies out there. One of them's Hypotherm, which everything that I've read is the top of the line when it comes to plasma cutters. I'm actually going to call them and tell them what I'm doing, get an engineer on the phone. It's always good to talk to like the engineering department of a company, because then you can talk to the people that are actually like testing, building, and they know what application you're doing with their machines, what machine or what tip or what setup. Maybe I just need a different setup, you know? But I think I'm going to go with a Hypotherm system, because if I'm going to be doing something to make money and be doing it every day, I want the best of the best. And there it went. I just broke it. I knew it wasn't going to last. I was going to actually put this on there and put a hose clamp around it, but yeah, I can't believe that happened. So, and I don't know. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. I don't think so. It is there. I'm probably not going to show on the GoPro, but there is a slight little. There is a very slight indent. I don't even think it's a 1/16 of an inch. Nothing's really melted, just black. I don't know if that's normal use, but on this one, there is some definite, you can see where the arc kind of blew out some of the copper to the side. I don't know if that's going to come through on the whole, on the camera, but yeah, so, and these tips are not really cheap, man. It's like, I thought it was 15 or 20 bucks for a box. You know, I got to figure out a setup that's not going to burn consumables constantly. Now it might just be what I'm doing with it. You know, the fact that not all of these things are the same. Like this one here was tough because other one that did, you find the weld, you cut to one side of it, it's no problem. This one, for whatever reason, it didn't want to do it. I had to cut all the way over here. Oh, we can get a good kind of see what's going on in here. Dag, that thing is still full of oil. Did I drain this? Maybe I didn't drain this one. I don't know how that slipped through the crack. That's interesting. But it's copper. Yeah, I don't know why this one didn't, maybe it's just because I didn't drain the oil. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I tried to use my other plasma cutter to cut a hole in the bottoms. It just, it doesn't like it. That little one's good for certain things. I think I'm gonna use that one to cut the motors. And even that, I kept having a hard time getting the ground to actually, you know, to get it to start. So I think going forward, I'm always gonna get one like this that just starts, you know? And then I was thinking maybe my ground isn't that good. I'm gonna have to up my ground game a little bit. But so far, other than the cup and the issue that happened right there, this machine is a beast. You know, I turned it up one time to 50 amps, but it wasn't necessary. I turned it back down. I don't think I needed it. For this thickness of metal, this thing is way overkill, which is what you need if you're doing production. You know, you don't want to be maxing out or even 50%. If you're doing something all day long, you want your equipment working at like 25% of its capacity, you know, or maybe 50%. You don't want to be stressing the machine. And this is quite capable of doing this job. I don't like the fact that that happened. I don't like the fact that they sent me a tool that doesn't do anything on this machine. I don't know, let me check the back. Oh, and another thing is, my clamp that I made works out really well because I could just put any handle in there really. And it's nice when you cut it and maybe there's a spot you missed, you can just pull that thing right off and do what you need to do and keep going. The quick release setup is a must when you're doing this. Yeah, I don't see anything back here that thing would actually tighten up. Let's see if we got any water. Surprisingly not. There's probably a lot of water in this column. I did, when I built this, put a, I think I got a valve down here. I can just, what's nice is the air is going in down there and I'm tapping into the air up here. So most of that water probably wouldn't even make it all the way up this tube because it probably sticks to this metal and it's heavy, so it stays down there. I tried to drain the bottom of that tank. The thing is actually stripped, so I got to get a new drain valve, empty that thing out, and then I am going to move that air compressor over to the other bay where I have a 220 plug that's on a different outlet, because right now I'm running this and the air compressor on the same outlet. But as you can see, I've linked both the compressors together, so I have a huge volume of air. So this thing kicks on, and usually when it kicks on, I'll finish what I'm doing and stop cutting, and then just let that thing run, and I'll do something else while it's running. And then when it stops, I can cut a couple compressors before it actually kicks on. And at the same time, I'm running the air motor. You know, I was cutting, at one point, I was probably cutting about this fast. I mean, it was cranking through it, you know? So I got to figure out like the settings, what I should be doing. And then I think I'm always going to run into finding a spot that, you know, where you're hitting metal behind metal and it blasts back into it. I think that's going to be a problem. But for the most part, this is the first one I had an issue with, and I don't know what the problem was, honestly. But as you can see, it just didn't. Maybe the consumable was bad at that point from all that oil blowing out of here. So I think I dropped the ball on that and forgot to drain it. That's my fault. And it might even be the reason that thing, but it wasn't this one that happened to. This was like the final nail in the coffin. And I stopped when that happened. I stopped and I went and was trying to do some research and figure out what was going on before I actually, you know, damage this thing really bad. Besides that issue, which could be my fault for running non-dried air. This thing wants dry air. I don't know if moisture would cause that kind of problem. And it could be my problem for letting oil splash out. I mean, when I cut that one, I mean, it splashed out pretty bad. So that could have been a factor, but the thing was actually acting up long before that, man. Like I said, this one, I kept watching it. It happened 3 times, and the 3rd time it was over here. I just don't see slag getting up under and past that cup like that, you know, because this thing was gripped on it pretty good. So if anything, the slag would have like hit it and bounced off. And then, you know, I was also thinking, you know, they make anti-splatter spray for welding. Maybe I should coat this with some anti-splatter spray. I don't know. I seen a video of a big machine. It was really nice. It had like a door with a big vac system, and it had just a big plasma cutter head on it, man. Some big boy stuff. But it was just like this. There was none of that. And it was all, obviously it was CNC because it made its cuts with the door closed and the guy not doing anything, you know. This is going to be a little difficult. Ultimately, you know, like I've said, that's got to get changed from air to electric quick. I need to be able to dial that in, and once I dial it in, that should be it. It shouldn't really be a problem, but it's hard to get this consistent, even though I do have 2. One where I can just, you know, maybe set this or set this one and then fully open this. Like, this is what I originally built it for. The problem I'm having is I have to unscrew this. That's another thing. Like, I need to fix the air to get this to open and close. It'd be a lot quicker than what I'm doing there, or put some type of, figure out some type of motor, but I don't even know how that would work. Problem is I need a full rapid. And what I think I was going to do is, because this comes out and then goes down into the machine, I think I'm going to put a secondary line down into the machine. That I believe up there I have that red hose is an actual foot pedal. I think I'm going to have a foot pedal full rapid. And I don't know how this air motor works. I don't think I can get it to go in reverse. Having a reverse would be nice, because when this thing's over there, I'd like to just move it over here instead of going all the way around. It's kind of annoying, but it's way better than if I was sitting here just doing it by hand and having to move these things. The fact that I can get this thing to move consistent, it leaves such a nice, when you have it dialed, you get the perfect cut. And doing it by hand, you're just not going to do that. You know, you're going to be all over the place, and you'll be close. I seen Empire of Dirt. He just sits there and does it by hand, but he does a thing where he cuts it all the way around, goes up, and then goes across. But he's also picking these up from the top and then like smacking them with a hammer. I've mentioned that I am going to put some type of gantry boom, something on this. It's going to be like a little setup to where we can have a prep, a cut, and a dismantle, and then picking this up however I decide to do it. He picked it up and tapped it with a hammer, and the thing fell right out the bottom, which was actually really nice, because right now I'm making 2 verticals and all the way. He was making 1 vertical and just halfway around. So he's cutting like a third less than what I would be cutting here. And time is money. And when you got a lot of these things, you got to step up your efficiency game. And that's what we need to do. We need to step up our efficiency game, because I need to just move this stuff. Like when I'm done cutting, I need to undo this, knock this thing right off of here, off out of my way onto another table. I don't need to dismantle it right here. I need to get it out and over. You know, I need to get the next one on here as fast as possible. And I think I can get to my goal of 1 a minute. You know, I think I could cut one of these open and split it and pull the copper in 1 minute. It's going to take some dialing, and I mean a lot of dialing in, but my goal is to be able to do one compressor completely in a minute. Now, I'm not going to be able to do it by myself. It's going to take, you know, 2 people, but the process from punching a hole and drilling it is going to be assembly line, so it's going to have time to drain. They'll move along. You know, the cut-in parts shouldn't take that long. I mean, if you're going around, up, and half a way around, and you can get it out, I'd say 15 seconds, 20 seconds at top. And then if I can get that stator out of there, okay, I should be able to split that in 10 seconds. 10 seconds or less. With a system that's set up, dedicated to splitting, you pull the handle, you split it, and then another, let's say, 15 seconds to pull it, you know? I don't know, we're gonna get it dialed in, but right now I need to up my cutting game, and you know, we'll get it dialed in, man. This is just a taste of compressors. This was from one customer, and this was, I think he said 3 months, and I went over to his shop yesterday. He's got more in his shop than he breaks it all down. At the end of the day, him and his guys process this stuff. So there's a lot more coming. Oh, and another thing, I was talking to the guy in Miami, and he was saying the ones that say LG, I got to talk to him again. He said that his buyer sent him a memo saying, hey man, these compressors are aluminum. And so I asked him, I'm like, hey, what are you going to do about that? Because you're just buying them as they come in. He goes, well, it's not really a problem now, but if it starts to be a problem and they start downgrading their load, they're going to have to start sorting these at the source, at the scrap yard. They're going to be looking for certain codes. And I think someone had mentioned in my comments that if there's a certain LG or LP or something in the code, we got to figure it out, you know, because then, you know, we can just not process them. We'll just pass them on. But unfortunately, that means the scrap yard's not going to be paying as much for them. It's basically just going to be iron aluminum, if that. I don't even think there's going to be enough aluminum in there to consider it iron aluminum, except for these ones here. These big red ones have all had nice big chunks of aluminum. Okay, so the future of these, I don't know, man. But there's still millions. I'm in South Florida. AC is huge down here, and there are millions of these things, and I'm gonna get my taste of it, you know. I'm gonna get my piece of the pie. Now, another thing, these motors, what do you guys do with these? Do you guys process that style right there? I told Steve, you know, he must have had a lot on his mind. I told him not to take those apart yet because I wanted to take one apart, cut it all up, see if it, you know, is actually going to be worth taking apart, you know? I don't know. We'll find out. I can probably split those with my cutter, but I don't know. Pulling it, I'm just going to have to like push it out. I don't know if it's going to be actually worth the time. Might just sell it as electric motors. You know, you got to weigh your time. I did run into a couple of these, and that's another thing, these fan motors. There was a couple of them, and even the older rusty looking ones that were aluminum. So I'm gonna have to start paying attention to these, the manufacturer and the part numbers. If there's a reference on here somewhere that's going to indicate they are aluminum or copper, we're going to have to figure it out. So hey, this is the beginning of my AC scrap journey. So you guys are along the ride. Unlike when I started Transformers, I should have started YouTube back then, because that was fun, building this whole setup over here and, you know, getting all that stuff dialed in. But you guys have been here for the stator wrecker and the AC compressor cutter, and you'll be here for the next machine. And got a teaser for you. Wait till you see what's in those 2 boxes, man. I am super stoked about that, man. That's gonna be some game-changing stuff right there, and gonna be a huge difference in the overhead. So anyway, final thoughts on the titanium plasma cutter. For the most part, I would say it's a good machine. Now, I've only had 1 day of use, but I used the crap out of it. Like, I was non-stop running this thing. And other than the problem that I had with that, which I don't know if that was my fault or just a cheap Chinese handle, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna run it like this. I'm gonna get it dialed into you know, I'll just make sure the thing is holding it off like that without the cup. I don't have any of the weld spray, but hopefully it's not going to arc on anything. I honestly don't know what would have made it arc out like that. I honestly don't think it was slag, but who knows? We're going to find out here in a minute, because I'm going to keep cutting. So stay tuned for that. If you come this far, thanks for watching. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for some upcoming videos. Stay tuned for the opening of the boxes and what I actually finally wind up with as far the plasma cutter and the modifications I'm going to do to this thing. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before?